Hello. In our last video, we looked at purchase orders and how to create them. They need to be in the right warehouse and how to locate the previous purchase order we've created using the voucher number and page up. Now, in addition to that, you just need to note that whenever you create a purchase order and you want to send them out, then you locate the purchase order using the number and the page up once again, and you have the send mail option here, which sends it to vendor's email, and you have the print option. So if you print this, you would have a pop-up that comes to say save a format you want to save as. You save that, and then you can send it to your supplier. As we have coming up here, we can see the pop-up. Let's just go. Okay, so there we have it. So what you then need to do is to save this, and once you save it, you can send it as an attachment in a separate email to the supplier. Now, in creating purchase bills, you hover across over purchase, and then you can find your purchase, which is the first item listed there, and we can see that the interface is the same with the purchase order. So the question you want to ask yourself is, am I creating a purchase bill afresh, or I want to copy a previously created purchase order and convert it to a purchase bill? If you want to copy a previously created purchase order, then what you have to do is to locate the purchase order. So let's close this purchase and go to purchase order. So we want to copy the purchase order for the raw materials that we did before. And how do you copy it? At the bottom left here, you will see create purchase. So if you click on that, it copies this to a purchase bill. So here we have the purchase order, and here we have the purchase bill. So your vendor is still the same, your items are still the same, your notes, do you want to change anything? You go ahead and change it. Now, one important thing you need to note when creating purchase bills from a copied PO is you want to ensure that your items have the right expense account. Now, I can select my expense account from this place. If I select purchases, then that means I want it to go to my inventory. Everything on this list will go to my inventory and would gradually come to my cost of goods sold as the main products are being sold. If I select cost of goods sold, it means that I want to expense it straight to my P&L as a cost of sale. If I select whatsoever other operating expense, it means I want it to go straight to that operating expense. Now, let's put this back on select. Now, I need you to note that if you select an expense here, it will override whatsoever let me use that word, internal expense has been selected on each of these lines. Remember in the purchase order video, I showed you how to add an expense to each of the products, and at the end, I pointed out the fact that we are not supposed to add an expense when creating a purchase order. And then I also remember that I said if you add the default ledger, the purchase default ledger, when creating the product, or you edit the product beans raw and you add a default purchase ledger, that ledger would always show up here whenever you select beans raw in either your purchase or your purchase order. Now, I want beans raw to go to my purchases, so I'm selecting purchases here. Remember, it's just best for you to fix this ledger accounts at default. So edit the products, put what you want to put there, so you don't have to do this at every point in time. So you reduce your stress on a day-to-day basis. I want my palm oil to go to purchases because I am tracking it and it's an inventory item. But salt is an inventory item, but I don't want to track it. I want to expense it straight up. So I am selecting cost of goods sold. So once I've done that and everything looks okay, once again we can see entry by admin Ibadan. If I select a different expense account here, once again I'm laying this as an emphasis. If I select a different expense account here, it will override whatsoever expenses I've selected in each of these individual products. So you are best advised not to do that. So what you then need to do is save. Once you've saved that, you would notice that the purchase bill closed and you're back to the purchase order. Now let's locate the purchase bill that we created. If you can take a quick quiz, how can we locate the purchase bill that we just created? Do you have your answer ready? Okay, so I believe that you would know that if you go to purchase number and press page up, you would find the last purchase you just created, and we can see it. Now let's confirm if our expenses stayed this time around. Oh yes, you can see it. The account, the ledger account that you posted it to, purchase, you can see that it stayed. When we did it for purchase order, it didn't stay. If you go to sort, you can see that yes, you have the cost of goods sold still there. So what does this show you? It shows you that you really need to select or be sure of your expense account when creating the purchase bill itself and not the purchase order. Now, another key thing you want to take note of is you can see this line at the bottom left here. You're seeing generated from PO order 3. That is telling you that this particular purchase bill was copied from PO number 3. So you can always know from which purchase order did we copy this purchase bill. If it was created afresh, you wouldn't have this, as we would see shortly. If you want to print it out, you can print it out and send it. If you want to delete it, you can delete. There's a remove button here. If you want to remove an item, you can remove. If you want to edit an item, what you need to do is to click on it, change the quantity, change the price if that's what you're changing, and press OK. Before now, that is before you save. Before you save, you can always do that. But if you've saved and you're locating it like we've done, if you try to do that, let's try that. Let's remove. Let's see. So we can see it is out of there and it is asking update and it's asking you for a second password. Now, if you don't have the right to do this, you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. So it means that for you to be able to delete or update a saved purchase order or a saved purchase bill, you must have a second password. Now, you can only have a second password even if you have a second password and you don't have the right to, you won't be able to delete it. If you have the right to and you don't have a second password, you also won't be able to delete it. So this gives the admin a two-way leverage. One, to give you the right, and two, to create a second password for you that enables you to delete items. So what if you want to create a new purchase bill? What if you want to create a new purchase bill from the scratch? Let's do that. So I went to purchase, I clicked on purchase. What's the name of your vendor? Name of your vendor is demo, no inventory. I want to create a purchase bill for an expense electricity bill. I want to create a purchase bill for electricity bill. My electricity bill is 15,000 naira. I can decide not to put anything here. I would want to select it outside using this. So I put my notes describing this transaction and I go just before I save electricity bill. So you don't really need to scroll through this account list one by one. If you know the particular chart of account you're looking for, so I know I'm looking for electricity bill. So if I press E on my keyboard, it takes me to the first account that is starting with E. If I press Okay, so that is the only account starting with E. If it is L, I know there's lawyer fees, and that's it. Okay, so let's go back to our electricity bill, and everything looks correct. My date is correct. If this date is not correct, I can change it, and then what I need to do is save. Once again, to locate the last purchase bill that was raised, what you need to do is open purchases, go to voucher number, press page up, and you would see it. Now, if I use intelligent search to search for my electricity bill ledger, I can find this particular purchase that I raised now. Today is 8th of July. It was raised in Ibadan warehouse, and we can see the bill. You can, let's close this first. You can click on it to open the purchase bill that was raised. Now remember that now you are owing this supplier, demo vendor. You're owing him and you have to pay him. Paying him would be treated in a separate video where we talk about payments. I guess that's it. That's it. We've looked at everything we need to touch on in the purchase order. Now, another way to locate all your, if you look at your profit and loss, you look at your income versus expense accounts, you will find this transaction there in the relevant ledger. Another way to also see the purchases you've raised is to go to the purchase register. So if I hover over purchase and I come to this first line here, purchase, I see a calendar or register sign. If I click on it, I have my purchase register. If I go to bill detail view, generate, I can see purchase order 14, see what I've done and all of that. Item wise, let's see. So basically that is it. You can see it either from your purchase register or from your purchase, or by using the voucher number and page up on your system. So thank you very much. We'll move on to the next video now. Thank you.